there's a tornado that drops right in front of us while we're at McDonald's. It felt like something from out of this world. And then I started to see things getting lifted up. I started to see tractors going up. And I was like, well, this is it. I was going to die.
Welcome to today's BATTARIX POWERCAST. We are joined by Ricky Forbes, Tornado Watcher.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot for having me, Sam.
So, Rick, how's it going by you? I know you're up in Canada, making your life as a tornado chaser, tornado watcher. You told me previously you ranked third, I guess, on the list of tornado watchers.
Yeah, and so when I say ranked third, I did say that in our last conversation. I guess first of all, like I call myself a professional storm chaser, but there's no officiating body for that.
Right. How do people rank that?
I'm sure if you asked another storm chaser, they would have a different opinion of where I rank, because there's no official. We're not talking about like a Billboard top hits or anything. First of all, I describe a professional storm chaser as somebody who makes a career, who makes an income, who makes a living storm chasing, and that's what I do. And there are a few of us out there, some completely full time, some part timers, and lots of people who just do it as a hobby. And when I say like I rank third, I'm measuring that strictly on a social media basis. So I'm looking at what I can quantify. So I look at who I feel my competitors are. I look at their social media numbers. I'm talking about like followers on each one of the platforms and the engagement they're getting, and comparing that to myself.
Sure. So walk me through that. How do you become a storm chaser?
Yeah, you know what, Sam? You fell out of school, ran out of options, and growing up in Canada, I grew up in a province called Saskatchewan. Nobody ever knows about it, but like it's in the middle of Canada is where I live. And so I grew up loving adventures, and then I went to university for finance. So I have a finance degree. I meant to be a stockbroker. I thought I wanted a big house and a fancy car. I thought money was going to make me happy. And then I came out of school. I got into that, and I wasn't happy. And I was like that. I decided life was too short. I was going to see what I can do. I was single. I had no bills, no mortgage. I was going to give it a shot. So I was in my 20s, and so I started chasing adventures. I love like skydiving, dirt biking, mountain biking, anything I can get my hands on. And I've always enjoyed photography and videography. I had no real clear direction in my 20s. I was just working odd jobs and chasing adventures. And eventually, it just led to a conversation much like this, that I was talking to a fella, and he said, hey, if you like doing those kind of things, you should try storm chasing. And I was like, get out of here. Like tornadoes? Wow. I had no idea people did that. I've seen the movie Twister. I had no idea people chase tornadoes. And so I teamed up with that guy, and we went out the year after. It was April 2012, so 12 years ago. And I saw my first tornado, and it was what was meant to be a 1 week, safari of sorts. I really didn't think anything more of it until I saw that tornado, and I was so scared and so terrified, but at the same time so mesmerized. It felt like I had seen something from out of this world. I felt so small and insignificant. It felt like seeing a T-Rex. It felt like a Jurassic Park, and I was like, this is it. This is the coolest thing ever. And I was like, I'm going to figure out how to make a job doing this. And I still feel that way today about storms. Like storm chasing is really hard work, but it never feels like work, because I can't wait to see that T-Rex again.
Right. So talk to me about that. So when you're chasing a storm and you're sitting on the corner of Main and 3rd, and all of a sudden you see that funnel cloud coming, is there like an adrenaline rush? Do you like say, here it comes, guys, let's go? Like you go straight for it? How does that work?
I originally got into storm chasing largely because of the adrenaline rush, because that's what drew me to the other adventures as well. But after 12 years, there definitely is still an adrenaline rush. And there is, the more tornadoes I see, the more close calls we've had, the more damage I see, the more terrified I become of them. And so there is... I've seen over 500 tornadoes, and so you start to kind of get used to it. But every tornado is different. When we're sitting on Main and 3rd, and that funnel starts to drop, the adrenaline does go. One, to see the tornado, but two is that this is it. Like, because essentially what we're doing is hunting, and for that elusive moment, that the beast has come out, and we have. Sometimes that tornado can stick around for, I've had 2-3 hours. Sometimes that tornado disappears within 2 minutes. And I don't know what it's going to do. And so My business is photography and videography, like dealing with sponsors and social media based. And so if it's only 2 minutes, I have to bang off everything as quickly as possible. So like vertical video, horizontal video, photos of all sorts. That's like I have a whole shot list. I have a checklist. So like, don't get me wrong, I do want to be there to enjoy it, but the first is like making the income. And if it does stick around long enough, after 10, 15 minutes, then I can step back and be like, oh, and I get to enjoy it a little bit and then keep doing more work. But I'd say the adrenaline is more fueled by the expectations I have on myself.
Right. So, have you had any like close calls? I mean, you said you've seen probably crazy things and crazy twisters and destruction. Have you personally ever been caught in the middle where you say, "Guys, this might be it. We're in the funnel. We're done."
Yeah. It was actually, in a sense, somewhat our claim to fame, and I spent a number of years on a show called Tornado Hunters, and the reason why we got that show was because we got caught inside the world's largest tornado. Now, it could have been any tornado, but it was the world's largest tornado. So this was May 31st, 2013. It was a tornado in El Reno, Oklahoma. And Oklahoma is the heart of Tornado Alley. And this tornado, it was over 2.6 miles wide on the ground. 2.6 miles wide. And if somebody's listening to this, like in kilometers, it's 4 kilometers wide. And so it was just a tornado as far as you could see. Like usually tornadoes we would see be a fraction of that, like maybe half as big or like a quarter as big. And we at that time we were also making a mistake. There was in the early years of storm chasing for myself, there was just us and a few teams, and it became a bit of an ego contest on who could get the closest to these tornadoes and get the footage that nobody else could get. And at that point, I'd seen about 70 tornadoes, and everyone had gone perfectly. And we read it right. But I like to say, chasing tornadoes it's a lot like getting in a ring with a bull. You have a pretty good idea what's going to happen, but you're not certain. And so, after seeing 70 tornadoes and guessing each one right, this one we thought would go right as well. And so we got up nice and close to it, and then all of a sudden it started to expand really quickly. And we always have an exit strategy. So I was the driver in this situation, and I'm driving us as fast as we can away from this tornado. But it just caught up, and the wind started to catch up to the truck, and the roar of the tornado, you could hear it. It sounds like a mix between like a jet engine and like a freight train. Just. And it's coming up and it's starting to rock the truck, and the guys are yelling. It's starting to hit us, but I can't look. I'm looking straight ahead away from it. And then it starts to come over, and the dust is starting to come over. Our windshield wipers stop working because they're getting blown out, and one ends up snapping off. And then we start to see there's tractors and farm machinery, and because we're out in the countryside, that start to get lifted up and getting taken off into this tornado. And then all of a sudden, it comes over us. And our ears popped, and I didn't know this.
That must be totally surreal. I mean, when that happens, you must be like just looking like, "Oh my! Like, what is going on here? This is nuts."
Yeah. It started off as a.
How do you duck from an 18-wheeler? Like, say, guys, 18-wheeler coming in, duck.
Yeah. No, it went from adrenaline to once it started to get up beside us, I was scared. I was like, holy shit, like pardon me, but like I've never been this close, and I don't know what's gonna happen next. And then I started to see things getting lifted up. I started to see tractors going up like much heavier than our half ton. And I was like, well, this is it. Like I was 26 years old, and I was going to die. And the guys are saying their goodbyes. One guy was saying sorry because he asked us to stay longer than we wanted to near the tornado. I was really sad. I didn't have a partner at the time. Like I didn't have a wife or a girlfriend, but like I have siblings. I have my parents I'm close with, and I wasn't gonna get to say bye to any of them. And it was interesting. We were inside the tornado for around 30 to 40 seconds, but when your adrenaline is like rocketing at such a high speed, it is proven that time, your perception of time slows down, and it really felt like 5-10 minutes. Like I had time to think about what a mistake I've made, and I had time to think about missing my parents, and I started crying like while we're still inside this tornado, and
That's wild.
yeah, it was just so I'm driving though, and while I had a mix of being sad, but at the same time, kind of like I don't know what you want to call it, like a warrior mentality. Like I was like, I am not. Uh, at one point, it felt like I was giving in, and the other point, I also was like, nope, I am not dying this way. We are getting out of here. So I had the pedal to the metal. Like I was driving the truck as fast as we could. I'm sure we were doing like 80, 90 miles an hour, and we hit a ditch, a deep ditch, and I put us in the ditch because if you're beside a strong winds, if it gets underneath your vehicle, you're more likely to roll or get lifted up. So we're down in the ditch and we're ripping along. It was just dust and things swirling around. I could see hay bales floating around. I could see farm animals floating around in the sky above us. And I was like, at any point we're gonna go up. I was like, but I had my blinders on and I was just driving as fast as I could down this ditch. And then like a scene out of Twister, like no BS, it was this 2-ton grain farm truck comes floating through the air in front of us. It was ways out at first, but I saw it and I could see its direction was coming towards us. And I was like, oh, it's going to hit us. And I wasn't sure what to do at this point. And because I didn't want to like reef us out of the ditch this fast because we're going to roll the truck and be screwed anyway. And then like the farm truck landed right in front of us. Well, it felt like right in front of us. I'm sure it was about 50, 100 feet. But just enough time that going the speed we were, I reefed on the steering wheel and got us back up onto the road. And we kind of jumped the truck a little bit. I'm not sure how high, but it was a pretty rough ride. And then it was like another 2 more seconds. And then the tornado just let up. And the sun came out and it was like it never happened. But
It's crazy. This is Wizard of Oz. I mean, this is real life Wizard of Oz. I mean, did you see Dorothy in that funnel?
Everything but. Yeah.
No, that is wild. I mean, that and then you went back for more.
No, so that day, like at that moment, I kept driving for like another, I don't know, I think like 4 or 5 minutes. We have video of it. I kept driving for like another 4 or 5 minutes, and the guys are saying, "Ricky, you can stop, And I was so terrified. I was like, I'm not stopping. I don't care. I'm gonna keep going away from this tornado. And then we pull over, we regroup, and we hug, and grateful to be alive. And they're like, okay, we have footage. Our job is still to like upload this footage, sell this footage to the news networks. And so we go into a town called Chickasha. I always pronounce it wrong. It's like Chickasha or Chickasha, Oklahoma. And I'll never forget, we're sitting at a McDonald's stealing their Wi-Fi outside. And the guys are busy on their computers. And I was pretty shook up. I should have been helping, but I was just sitting in the driver's seat staring out the window. And the sky started to wind up right in front of us. Clouds started to it starts to form like a little cone. And I was like, what? And then I look at the radar and there's a tornado that drops right in front of us while we're at McDonald's. And like at this point, like high PTSD. Like I was just, I was terrified. And so then, we had to pack up and go the other direction as it came into town there. And
you didn't take the message, Ricky. You didn't take the message.
Well, after that, I did actually. I quit Stormchasing for most of the year after that, and I didn't think I was going to come back. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Now you talk about your truck. You're in your truck, and where I met you was in Anaheim. We're at the disaster show, and what drew me to you was that great orange truck of yours. I mean, there was this big orange titanium truck just sitting in the middle of the show. And so I got to talk to those guys, right? And so, I went, it was just fascinating what you got in that truck and how it's built. Can you just talk us through what that truck, what's in there, all the equipment you have, the radar, and then what it can it can last through a storm, just talk us through that truck.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a few different parts of the truck. There's the protection of the truck, there's the storage of the truck, and then the technology inside. And so the protection of the truck, first of all, it's fully coated in Linux. And so that's like your bed box liner that goes in the back of your pickup trucks. And so we have that because we get hit with really big hail, like softball, baseball size hail. We also get hit with debris from these tornadoes, like steel and wood comes flying at us. And so we have our truck wrapped in that. On our windows, we have a clear vinyl film. Now, not as strong as the Linux. And oftentimes we get asked, why don't we put plexiglass or something like that in? When you're taking photos and videos, taking it through plexiglass, it distorts it a little bit, and we need that sharp imagery. And so the best we can do is that clear vinyl on the windows. And then, so that's the protection of the truck. And sorry, I also need to mention the off-roading side of it. And so the truck, it is an F-250, so it's a 3/4 ton now. And so it runs. We have cut out the wheel wells to fit bigger tires without lifting it, and so it has 37-inch general tires on it, and we got steel bumpers front and back. And this truck can make it through anything, mud, snow. We have never got this truck stuck, and we also have a 12,000-pound winch on the front, and so we can help out others, because that happens a lot when we and also help ourselves we need. But if we're ripping down a gravel road and we see, whether it's just a bystander or if it's another storm chaser and they're stuck and there's storms in the area, I feel it's our duty to help those people. It takes a few moments. We stop, we get those people out, and we keep rolling. So we have that winch. So we has the off-roading capability, has the protection, and then in the back we have lots of storage. We got racks on the side of the truck. We got bed box storage in there, and so because lots of times we're running with 3-4 people in the truck for weeks on end. So you got to imagine we got clothing in there, we have our camera gear, and so that it has to accommodate all 4 of us for a very long time traveling all over the countryside. And so so storage, protection, off-roading, and then inside we have computer mounts so we can have our laptops up. We have a data card. We have a cell phone booster, the WeBoost cell phone booster. And then we have all the radar technology that comes over our computers and over our phones. We have lots of cameras. We run 4 different cameras inside, 3 different cameras outside, constantly running when we're storm chasing. And that's about it. The truth is, it's a big, mean-looking truck. And I like to joke that about 98% of the time, it's too much. Now, I do love trucks. I'm from rural Canada, so we like trucks. Right. But 98% of the time, it's too much. Like, there are storm chasers. You'll see they're storm chasing in like a small Prius or a small Honda. Right. But it's the 2% of the time when we do need it, when our lives are at stake or somebody else's life is at stake, that I would pay everything to have that kind of truck. And so that's why we have that kind of truck, for the moments that it really matters that we need it to save us.
So when you show up, does everyone say, "Oh my gosh, the bad boys are here. Let's move over"? Like you probably, like you said, these people in the Prius and the Camrys, like they're sitting on the side of the road, and this big orange truck, shows up. They say, "Okay, guys, follow him."
It does have a presence. Sometimes they follow us, but it doesn't quite work out for them because we also use the truck to our advantage. We can take roads that other people can't take, and so that way, because if our competition is out there, they're going to take the highways most of the time. We can take the washed out gravel roads. We can get shots they can't get because we can get them places they can't get, and I think people have learned that over time. As for presence, the truck does demand quite a presence. It is a big unit. There is another team out there. They run a tank. It's really cool. It's a tank that they drive right into tornadoes, and they have some amazing footage from doing it, and that's their prerogative. But our vehicle's definitely one of those that stands out in the field.
Right. So let me just ask you. Obviously we introduced you to BATTARIX, my product, and how it can give power to people. How do you see it, when people are in a storm, like what's the message you would give people, how to use the BATTARIX and the mission for that?
The way I see BATTARIX is it's there for the moments when you didn't think you needed it. I always carry one in my wallet, and I also carry a few in my truck, and give them to the people I'm working with, because it's going to be a moment where, for us, we're away from the truck, and if we are doing like search and rescue or first aid, then all of a sudden somebody does need power and that phone died, that they have it on their person, and that it's for the things you can't plan for, and that's really the way that I see it. And whenever I'm talking to anybody about it, I just think it's just something you have to have on you're not going to plan to get it once you need it. It just has to be there in the first place.
Right. I mean, have you ever come across people like after a storm where they have no power and their phone's dead and they just need to get power to call people? I mean, I guess that's, a main case, when you would use the BATTARIX.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, actually, Sam, I didn't get to tell you, but you did send, I think, I don't know, about 20 or so of them to me last year. Yeah. And so a few of those did end up going to a few people who had their homes hit by tornadoes. We were out we were out helping them, and two of them, their phones were dead. And so I gave them a couple of them each, and they ended up using that to get in touch with loved ones, let them know everything was okay. There is no, I can imagine you're already wondering, there is no footage, there is no photos of that. Like,
That's fine.
I just can't.
Again,
But
we've learned through this mission and through this, the story that we're writing here in BATTARIX, is that it's a life-saving product, right? People, you think you need it, you go into to the park, you go into the game, but in stories like this, when storms and when disasters hit, it can really save a person's life. If they need to just be in communication with, first responders or the family, they really need to get one.
100%. Like, your life in those moments relies on it. And it also goes to the idea of, I'm sure anybody listening, you've had those moments in your life where you've lost your phone or you broke your phone, and all of a sudden it's odd, but it feels like your world comes crashing down. Like, you can't operate without your phone. And that's where it comes in. And it's amazing how much juice it gives you to keep going. Right.
I mean, it's crazy. I know time is short here, and we'd like to wrap it up. And just, what's your mission, going forward? How do you plan on growing Tornado, chasers, and then where do you go from here?
Well, more than anything, I love doing it, and it's better than a real job. So I'm going to keep trying to push that. And so I think more than ever in this environment, it's about social media, and it's about live streaming. I'm not sure if you caught it, but this past about a week and a half ago, an AI company came out with software that can create AI videos of anything you want now. And so that's, in the last week and a half, that's really, it's one thing to do photos, and because people are already putting out fake tornado photos. And so it's like, well, then my photos are, in a sense, feel no good, because how do you tell the difference between the two? And now you can do that with videos. Is that, I think more than ever, it's about that reality perspective, putting ourselves in the content, and the live streaming. But I don't know. We'll see how this year goes. Like, technology it's changing at such a fast pace. We'll see how we can keep making an income doing this.
Well, yeah. Good luck to you on that. And again, thanks for coming on. We've been in touch for a while. We finally got to nail you down. Got some time. I guess it's slow season now in the tornado world. And we'd love to stay in touch and see how we can grow both brands together. Obviously there's a symmetry, there's parallels that we can help each other out here. And just want to thank everyone for joining us on this BATTARIX POWERCAST. So want to remember, everyone, go to www.battarix.com, get your BATTARIX, just might save your life. Have a good day, everyone. See you next time.